What's going on? This is the Snodgrass podcast, and welcome to the show today. I got my man, original gangsta real estate investor from Indianapolis, Indiana. Doesn't live in Indianapolis anymore, but J Malone. This is literally the original gangsta that me and him came out in Indianapolis 17, 18 plus years ago. We were slinging deals in Indianapolis, and it's just nice to see a face from back in the day when I first got started. We got started real estate investing about the same time. And Jay, man, he has just killed it. Started off in Indianapolis, has went over to West Coast, done multi-million-dollar deals. Now he's doing developments in Atlanta, Georgia, and he is an awesome businessman. But today he's actually going to dive into his transformation with health. And I love this journey because he just takes it and simplifies it down. That it just didn't happen overnight, but there was about 5 years ago where he reached a point in his health that he decided to make a decision, and his life 5 years later has been transformed forever. And this isn't some, get health quick scheme. It's not anything like that. This took time, started off small, and became a lifestyle. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but he is just on the height of his health game. He's made some decisions in his life. He goes through that, some of the challenges with that, the people that didn't support him with that, what that was like, and what it's like to really try to regain your health while doing multi-million-dollar deals as a real estate investor. So it's a great interview with J Malone, original gangsta. So stay tuned for that, guys. Also, a couple other things coming up. So on our website, on irondeep.com, we have a new event coming up June 25th to the 28th of 2023. It's in the northern mountains of Georgia. And we're looking for about 20 guys that wants to come out. Mostly real estate guys are going to be joining us. It's going to be called the Men's Awakening. And what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to take you through a program. It's all business owner men, like I said, mostly real estate guys, and through just an awakening in your faith and your purpose and your identity. But we're also going to talk about some business stuff too. It's going to be great. So if you want to check that out, check it out and apply on irondeep.com, or at least sign up for our newsletter, guys, on irondeep.com. So we got that coming up, and also we have a couple of new videos on our but our YouTube channel, so check out our YouTube channel, Iron Deep YouTube channel as well. So thank you guys so much. Now I want to introduce you to J Malone. What's going on, Jay?
How you doing? Very nice to be here. Very blessed. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, super excited. We just had a nice conversation before we kind of clicked record, guys. J Malone was one of the originals back in the day, wholesaling, flipping properties back in Indianapolis. And there's not very many people I can literally say that, because we're talking 16, 17 plus years ago, Jay, right? We've been in this game a long time. We're not the rookies anymore. We're the veterans, right? The seasoned. So that's awesome, man. Just good to see your face again, because I know we've kind of, haven't chatted a lot. But what's life been like for you? Because I just want to be asked this first question, and that is, what's it like to kind of be that seasoned individual, that seasoned real estate investor, wholesaler? You get 17 plus years under your belt. And you're seeing all these different things happening now, a lot of changes, a lot of new resources, a lot of new people. It's just the game has changed. I want to get your perspective on, what's it like for you in that seat?
I think that it was a blessing to be able to go through the beginning stages where you see now we have technology makes things easier for us. But back then you really had to be creative and find sellers. You got all these different gurus now. Carlton Sheets was somebody who was like, who's this guy? He's talking about real estate, and all these different type of people who were giving us ideas of what to do and how to be creatively and make money. And I think that at that period of time, you had to be more creative. You definitely had to be someone who was ambitious, but we came in at a time to where we were making things happen out of nothing. And once we understood how we could make money, my whole thing was I wanted to make money because I didn't want to work a regular job, or I'm coming from the Midwest where you got Chrysler or Delco, and I just wanted to find something that inspired me But then through that, I started to understand how to have business development skills, learning how to work with other people, learning contracts was super important, learning how to negotiate. Those things came later, but at the beginning, it was all about just saying, you know what, I believe in myself. And at that period of time, nobody was working on a computer. So computers was just really coming out to where I was carrying around a computer. People was like, what is that? And why do you have that? What's
Right.
that? What's that's doing? And it just evolved. And
Yeah.
just so happy that I was able to take that, to believe in myself at that period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because so Jay, we were working in the same market, Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm just trying to take myself back and just even try to think about things I used to do. And remember, I had the Garmin in my car. I'd plug in all the addresses. I was typically buying a lot of properties off the MLS because the crash had happened around 07, 08. So I could look at a bunch of bank-owned types of properties. And then we would just put in a bunch of offers. We would sell them like on Craigslist, and you don't hear a lot about that anymore. And yeah, it was a simple model, and it worked. We didn't have some of the gadgets we do today, but I want to take you because I also had this conversation with you. As you actually went on, you started off doing that, and you still do some of that single family types of deals, but you've gotten into some really big heavy hitter deals. You moved out to Arizona. You're doing West Coast deals right now. Like sometimes that like freaks me out. I'm like, oh, Los Angeles prices, San Diego, you're talking $1 million for a 900 square foot house or something. And you started getting into development. So take us through that because I think that really scares a lot of people. They kind of get in their comfort zone and just kind of flipping these single family homes. But you took the leap. What was that like for you?
I think that the foundation of what it is that we start out doing. Once you understand how to close a deal, you can close a bigger deal. It's just bigger zeros. See, the zeros frighten you. So you think like if I do a deal for 20,000, the mechanics of the deal and how you found it and what you did is the same as a multi-million dollar deal. First multi-million dollar deal I did was I think it was like 2.5 million. That was the first deal I did. I did it the same way. I locked it up with my company. I put it underneath contract. The only thing out there is that the earnest money is 50,000. So in Indianapolis, you would say, okay, well, I got a earnest money of 500. You're locking the property up. You got a small amount of time to get inside of it, do your due diligence. And then if you can't get out of it or find a buyer, you have to get out. You got 7 days to do all this. So I have to really have my ducks in a row to be able to play out there in this game because you got $40,000 or $50,000 as your earnest money. These people out here will take your money. You'd be wiped out in one deal. So we really had to have, our ducks in a row. All the deals that I got were all off the MLS. So people saying, hey, you can't make money off the MLS. That is totally a lie. A lot of deals are on the MLS. They just need to be negotiated. So what you're really doing is you're just taking the deal that's already there and you negotiate it down. We still did the same thing. We had a buyer's list. We went to realtors. I learned a development. I learned a great strategy from California, and I use it. Instead of trying to call sellers, I would call realtors. Realtors are the gatekeepers of the real estate business. So you call realtors on the phone and you would just say, listen, do you have any pocket listings or any off-market properties that you would have before you hit the MLS? Could you send it to them? Could you send it to me? They would send me these deals before they even got on the market because my buyers only wanted off-market properties. And I've developed relationships with realtors, and that's where I had my greatest success was working with realtors and learning how to work with them. And then as I would, and even sometimes when the deals didn't close, just being able to have an honest relationship with them, it catapulted me. It took me from not being able to have any deals because you're calling. Now what people do now is they get these lists. So they scrub down a zip code and they get private, they get sellers, they call their house. Hey, this is such just you want to sell. Nope. We have a call. Now we got virtual assistants. We have somebody who can actually make those calls every day for you. And now you have private and upfront deals from a private seller. And that's like a newer strategy that's coming into place now, and it's having these virtual assistants that's actually making calls. So you make it like a call center now
Mm,
inside the wholesale business to get direct deals. But having, if you use leverage, you can always go through a good realtor in any city. So I can go tap into Alabama, call realtors there, give them your buying criteria, and then just develop. That's how you're able to scale over to different areas in the U.S. is by realtors. Have always been something that helped me really
mm.
scale.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. And I just love it because you've kind of, your business obviously transformed your life. You started off here in Indy, you went to bigger, better things, multi-million dollar deals. But honestly, a lot of this show is going to be talking about your transformation, because one of the things that I've noticed, and even in my own life, is the last 17 years, we're owning a business, running an organization, you have your team, your finances are always kind of up and down, roller coaster ride. If you have a family, you got all these different things going on, and it affects our health. And sometimes we neglect our health, we put it on the back burner, and that's what we do as business owners. I've seen it happen to myself. I've seen it happen to other men time and time again, and I think that might have happened to you as well. But you've actually been on this journey, and I love kind of your journey with this, and we're going to kind of take you guys through this. But you had a transformation with your health, so I want you to talk to us about when did the light bulb go off, I guess, in that, and where was that? Where was that transition, and what happened? Why didn't you start that earlier? So take us back to when was it that you realized that man, I really got to focus on my health, and why did it get so bad in the first place?
I think that health is something that's neglected because we don't think about health until you start getting older. And then health has become a passion for me. It's become a part of my purposes because first you're starting out when you're young, it's your diet. So when you are eating these foods and you're eating that, most people eat to survive. They don't eat to live. So you're just caught up in more of a, if nobody in your family is really health conscious or has a healthy state of mind, you're really going to keep passing down through generations your eating habits and what health is to you. I wasn't at that period of time. I was overweight and I've been overweight all my life, but everybody around me pretty much had a poor diet. But you start to see, my family, they're having diabetes. These health conditions, they start to become the norm inside of our way of life, is because nobody around us, we think that it's insane to have these chronic conditions. They're not hereditary. They're more, it's just a mindset that comes in. So when my family has diabetes, or you see cancers, or you see hypertension, or you see high cholesterol, these things are leading from some type of habitual habit of your diet. I was overweight and I was approaching my 40s at the time. And I just was, I started to just doing regular stuff. It just started to be, I was out of breath. And I think the first time I went up some steps and then I just felt me breathing really hard. I didn't change then. And then one day I was in the shower and I just looked at my body. I said, you know what, I made that decision. And when I made that decision, I said, you know what, I'm going to change this. And then I think my health journey started at that very moment. I changed. The first thing that I did, I found my why. So my why definitely was that I didn't want to have diabetes. I had fear of that. And then I also just wanted to change my health in my body. It was my body, the way it looked. I just was really ashamed of it. But then I knew that I was in poor shape, and I just physically, mentally, I just went into a state of mind of wanting to really make a difference and change it. And I did that. Then the next thing I did is I started with my diet. I cut sugars out. I cut carbs down, just veggies and lean meats. Then I just started walking. I want to tell people about walking is because at that period of time I was overweight and I just walked. So I walked for 30 minutes every day. And in that period of time, I was able to just keep walking, getting up the next day, walking, and talking to myself and just, really affirming, hey, you know what, you can do it. And I just kept walking. I walked for a year, and 30 minutes to about an hour, just walking, transformed my diet, got very disciplined. So health allowed me to understand about self-discipline and how to stay locked in to what it is that you are making a commitment to. And then from there, I got a trainer later after I had shed all the weight. People want to lose weight, but you shouldn't be trying to lose weight. That's not the key. I think it's more of your body fat percentage, finding out what it is. And then as you lose your body fat percentage, you will start to get into healthy. You'll get healthier because your organs are being stressed out by the fat and the bad fat, as I'm learning. There's good fat and bad fat, but the bad fat that's around your organs is pressing on you. That's why we sometimes be out of breath or having these symptoms, is because the stress that we're putting on our organs causes major health problems.
Yeah. I want to kind of go back. I love what you're talking about that. And obviously this is no secret, right? We got this billions and billions of dollar industry. Everyone kind of like, the knowledge is out there, right? We can study it, read about it in a book, look at it on YouTube, watch some videos on it. But it's not like this was all new to you, right? Maybe, but something changed in here, changed in your mindset. And was it just a fear of diabetes? Because, you talked about you're coming into the 40s, but maybe when you were 32, 33, did you ever think about this, but you couldn't quite change it, right? And you're like, your lifestyle completely had changed now. But what was it maybe at this point that maybe you didn't change it at 33 or 34? Was the pain just not great enough? And can you talk to us about like maybe that, your mindset in that?
I think it was more of the time that I should have changed was when I was going up those steps and then I was breathing so hard. So most of the time, we won't really change until we're either mad, upset, or that we have to, something has to dramatically come into you. Mine was more of the way my body looked. So you would have thought that I would have changed by actually knowing that I was out of breath. But really that change really didn't happen until I was in the shower that day and I was able to look at my body and just say, listen here, you have to, you got to change this. Like you have to change it. And then I just think that once I seen the way that my body actually was looking at it being so out of shape, and covering up too, shame also can do things like that too. Like, never being able to take your shirt off at the pool or never really feel comfortable within yourself. And I think it's all a self-reflection. So sometimes when we look at the way we feel about ourselves can make us do a transformation or make us stop at where we're at. So I think mine was more self-reflection. I think that would be the actual key to why I actually changed, was self-reflection, looking at myself and saying, you know what, I want to do better about me. I didn't start loving myself till later. So health started this, but then as I started, years went by, I started loving myself, started becoming spiritual health became something that was so important. Healing became important, but at the beginning it was just about self-reflection. So that's what made me really want to.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that you talked about, you just started walking, and because a lot of times when people have that moment, they have that self-reflection moment, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna go work out really hard, a couple, for an hour a day, maybe get a trainer, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you got the money and you can afford that. You're gonna grab that. I'm gonna cut out all this and eat food. But you talked about your diet, but you also just talked about walking. Like you said, you didn't see a trainer for like a year. Like, were you starting to work out, or you just started kind of walking, and that was kind of like your start? So like, why did you do that instead of going again? Like, you're an entrepreneur. You're like me. You're like, oh, if I'm gonna do this, I'm going all in, and I'm just doing it all. So talk to us about that.
The reason why is because, first of all, you have no structure, but you don't know anything about structure. You don't know anything about lifting weights. You don't know anything about All you know is that I'm getting ready to make a massive action step.
Mm.
So the first thing was the most simplest thing is walking. Because if I got a trainer at that time, I wouldn't have, I probably would still have the weight on me because you're pushing me now. So I want to push myself. I don't want to be pushed by somebody else. And that's what I thought was, I thought the fear of me giving up made me not deal with a trainer at the beginning. So walking was something that was more easier for me, is because I can push myself. If I can't walk, I can't do anything.
Mm.
You can't go lift no weights. You can't be consistent because these dudes are not going to be light on you. They're going to push you, even though that would have been a great thing. But at the time, my mindset was, you need to figure out how you can be consistent and do something on your own. You can come later. So I never wanted to lift weights. I never wanted to do that. My thing was getting this weight up off of me, and walking became something that I said over time. I started to develop more. My breathing became better. I was disciplined inside of my diet. So I just really had diet and exercise, my legs, flexibility, and then spending time with myself. I think that was so important. All those walks, I had a lot of conversations with God
Mm.
inside of those walks in 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm out there. And now I started to become a habit of me walking and spending time with myself and God, and then seeing my body transform. So by the time I got to the trainer later, he would say, "Really, I don't really got no work for it to do, but put muscles on you."
Mm.
So I really had a good year with me and God, and really being inside of a disciplined state,
Mm.
very, just very so much energy of just me being, because I was alone. Nobody in my family was really supporting,
Mm-hmm.
nobody outside of just myself. And you have to stay locked in, man.
Mm.
When you want to dedicate yourself to something, you can't look for cheerleaders out here. You can't look for any of that, because I could have got derailed at any moment
Mm.
with somebody thinking that somebody next to me was going to keep rooting me on, or thinking that. So I really just learned how to say, like, listen, if you really want something, get locked in with yourself. That's why it was self-reflection. Then it came out about all about me, because sometimes when you do want to change, the people around you don't want you to change.
Mm. That's
And
true.
then that breaks your heart. And then what you have to realize is that when you don't see and get the support that you need, I think I was listening to Miles Monroe today, and he talks about you being an anchor. So test comes when a storm comes. So when you an anchor, those boats, they'll really keep floating. But until you drop that anchor down and it gets a hold of a rock, and then the storm comes, you'll really know how strong you really are. So by me continuing to go out there at that period of time, and then not needing the support of other people, I became stronger. And then it just gave me so much zeal and so much power, self-power, to just keep going when I never got defeated, and perseverance became something that was an asset.
Mm. I love that. I love that. So I want to talk about diet a little bit, because you actually talk about you became a vegan, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, at first it said you cut out some sugars, things like that, and obviously I think diet is always the thing that that trips people up, because I think it's just so hard, because our culture is just surrounded by bad diet. It's so easy to have a bad diet, and so hard to discipline yourself to have a good diet, because everything around us is 80% just bad, right? And especially vegan. Now you're talking about really disciplined, like 95, like
yeah.
99%. Like it's hard to even do that. So was that like an over time thing you became vegan? Talk to us about your diet, how important that was, and then when did vegan come in play?
Abs are made in the kitchen. People are like, man, I'm just gonna do it. Everybody has abs. So what's happening is that you have to start looking at how your body, what food does to you, and what nutrients, and what I started to, at that period of time, you had nutritional facts that was on food. So you would actually see this. So you would see carbs, and then you would see sugars, and you would see salt. When you have that, thank God that we had that, because you remember back in the day, we didn't have that. So whatever you're eating, you don't really know what's in it. Now we would see these long paragraphs of what the stuff was made out of with stuff we couldn't pronounce. So really we were putting food, putting, you're eating. But what's happening is that I learned was at the beginning, I started to cut out sugars is because what sugar does to your body. And when you have too much of it inside of your body, what that happens. And then you have carbs. There's good and bad carbs. But at that period of time, I got why do I have all this weight on me? It's not so much that I wasn't exercising. I'm overeating because we always be programmed, hey, you need to finish your food and don't waste it. Or you come with this mentality of, now you got more money and you think that you can eat. You think you can eat better.
You're like you're a king.
When I first got more money, I started putting a whole bunch of steaks in my refrigerator. I thought, like, man, I made it. Now I'm eating more red meats, and my body doesn't. I'm learning that it didn't want to digest. It's hard. Like red meats can be hard on your digestive system, and also learning how to stay hydrated. When your body is 70 or 80% water, we really we're trained to, well, I want a Coke, or I want, that's a lifestyle. You drink Coke, you want sugar. So your taste buds really is retraining your taste buds so that you start to understand, okay, so what am I doing with my diet? It's very hard for you to change your diet once your taste buds are set on sugar and certain things. Me cutting out carbs, it helped me. Bread was a problem. Cheese was a problem. So everything that I was really doing is I'm just, eating these type of things. And then over time, I just accumulated so much weight. So me cutting out sugar, I think, lowering my carbs, I went to lean meats. So turkey and chicken was something that I thought I needed protein because I want muscle. So I'm in a state of mind is I need protein so I can get bigger.
Yeah.
But what I started learning is later on is that we are sitting up here eating meat. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the way the meat is processed is the problem. So the processed meats and the processed foods that we're eating, they're genetically modified. So that causes problems, and we're being over-toxicated by the food, the way it's processed. I just decided to, after watching What's the Health, get a little bit of more educational understanding of the food industry and how are they targeting us as people in America. We have 75% people in America is obese. Why? Is because of the way that we're eating, and it's causing children. Now you're starting to see more children that are obese now. They're not as active as they are, and I think that now when you see a parent, his body is a replica of the children. Like we're seeing these the school systems have failed because the way they're putting these diets that are inside the school to drink milk and you need all these things. We're not questioning the way that we eat. And I think that with me, the diet, I became disciplined at early. And then once I did that, I ate a lot of chicken and I ate a lot of turkey. Then once I cut pork out, then I cut beef out. Then after I cut that out, then I was there chicken, and then turkey, and then I just decided from a minute ago that when you see a gorilla, he doesn't eat meat. But you wonder, like, how could something that was a vegan or a veg, him eating grass, because the protein is in plant-based. So I went plant-based later. And what they do is they make us feel like that we have to eat meat to get protein, but really we don't. Really, it's just plant-based. So if you have a plant-based diet, you really have all the protein and the nutrients that you need, but it doesn't. But you're looking for meat because you think that that's where the protein is. The cows graze on meat. They graze on the grass and then they get killed. So you eat, they just got all of this protein from the grass.
Amen.
And you see that. So it's a reverse. All the biggest animals that you see the elephant.
That's true. That is true. That's crazy. That's crazy. I got a couple of questions. Just awesome, just kind of seeing your transformation. I love it because it's simple and you made it a lifestyle. I think is the biggest thing. Like, and you didn't do it all overnight. I mean, this is you did one step. You started walking, and then you started lifting some weights and exercising. You cut out some sugar, and then you realize you just kept growing. I think you've
Yeah, but
consistently kept growing, and you've made that a lifestyle. And here you are today. It's not like, if you're listening, you can't just do all this at one time. A couple of
no,
a couple of questions I just have that I think are some of the stigmas with this is, right, you're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur. So number one, like, we're very busy people. Our time comes into play, right? And it seems like, I know a lot of people, when health becomes like this, like if I look at you and like, wow, your diet, you're a vegan, you really got to think about it. You're working out a lot, you're staying in great shape. It's almost like it becomes an obsession, and so then a lot of the other stuff in their life really get minimizes, and their business suffers and all that. So can you talk to us about like the time, and has everything else, like your business, has it taken a back seat right now because you were cranking out business and your health was bad, but now if your health cranks up, maybe your business is going to go down because you don't have as much time and focus on it.
I think that we want to understand like harmony. So I had to at the beginning. You don't understand. Everything is tied to health. If you're eating bad or eating poor or you doing these things, it affects your creativity. It affects, you have brain fog, you're lethargic, you're not getting up early. Your health is so important because when you're a business person, most of your business is tied around the way you feel and think. You don't feel good as an entrepreneur, you don't even want to do anything. So I needed energy.
Mm.
I also needed brain clarity. I also needed that. But what I've learned is that I needed what I needed later. It came later in life. Meditation, spiritual health came later. I'm like, God, thank you for that. It's because health more from, oh, I just want to change my body. Then I started understanding that health has more legs than just eating and diet. It's a spiritual thing too. Our health is tied to our wealth. So it's kind of like now I understand how to meditate now. I'm on another level. So now I'm meditating. My breathing is important. We go through stress during the day or something, but we don't understand that by breathing, correct breathing allows me to be able to be centered again. So therefore I can start to say, okay, you know what? I can regroup. We all have to deal with upsets, especially in business too. I didn't have any business structures of how to deal with disappointment or deal with failure or deal with certain things. So it became, as I evolved with health, I started to understand how to heal myself, having holistic healing, learning how to, I would say, I became a really big, this meditation, man. It changed, transformed my life because just learning how to meditate, it just helped me to just say, you know what, I can go to the next level with myself, self-love, man. I would tell everybody, like, look, I went like last year, 2 years, I had a really, really very challenging and really bad mental health episode. And it helped me inside of my purpose as I was going through that, and to be, having to see a therapist and really getting to the point myself of just admitting, like, listen here, I need to do something about this. And then when I would see so many people that were going through mental health issues, they're alone or they're scared or the suicidal rates are high. Then you got people who got all this money and we'll think like, why did he hurt himself or why did he do this? Is because you have to realize that health is not just stemming from our diet. We need mental health, and we need to also understand and take that serious. So after I went through a year or a year and a half of having really bad mental health challenges, God blessed me with enough power to find self-love and within myself. And then I started to love myself enough. Now I don't drink anymore. I was drinking all my life. So I drank since I was 15. I just stopped drinking. I've been 8 months sober.
That's
so
awesome.
I haven't had a drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any of that anymore. So as you're seeing a journey and it's just going like this. I think once you decide to say that, you know what, I'm ready to go, it's definitely a marathon. It's going to be a journey. It's not going to be a sprint, and it's not going to be easy. But I think that it's gratifying. You feel so much, you feel so much love to just say, you know what, I'm still going, because I think we evolve. So I think that anything that we do, if we stay in it, it's a heaven there. If you can stay in any place and just stay there and believe that it's going to be great, it becomes better than what you have ever imagined it to be, because there's going to be so much that's going to evolve from your dedication, that you're going to be, just staying locked in. It's a beautiful thing to stay locked in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. One last question, Jay, before we kind of wrap up this show is, again, you said that you didn't have a lot of support, especially at the beginning. You didn't have the people in your corner cheering you on, encouraging you. It was kind of like you had to stay locked in. You had to stay focused. I know that sometimes when you're on this journey, when you're trying to grow yourself, especially maybe in your diet, I mean, it sounds like your family, people that surround you, they didn't have good diet. So here you are, maybe looking like an outsider, because you're trying to focus in on your diet. Maybe you're in certain social settings where you're not taking that drink, or you're not eating that sugar, or you're trying to order vegan ways, whatever, right? And you kind of have to get over that. So is it still like that for you, where you kind of, are a lone wolf, or are there people around you that you've learned to surround yourself and get encouragement from?
In life, it's contracts, and what you're going to find out is that to elevate is to be different. And when you want to go to another level, you have to understand, no matter if it's whatever it is that you're deciding to do, you're deciding to separate yourself away from everyone, is because you're making a decision to do something about you. So if it's only one of you, then once you decide to do something about yourself, you will automatically have separation. And what's going to happen is that people that are around you are used to seeing you the way that you are, in the way they always seen you. But once you start changing, you're transforming. So I'm not the same person that I was before. So whatever you thought I was, I'm not that anymore. And that's where the problem comes into place. See, now I don't drink anymore. And now I don't smoke anymore. So now you have to respect me as the person I am now. What you have to do is you have to understand pressure of people, or what they think about you, or what they could possibly say. You have to get inside of your own mind and love yourself and stay connected to yourself, because people that are going to come around you, like when I lost weight, I thought that I was doing the right thing, but I got body shamed. I got talked about for being skinny. I got talked about for, made fun of because I wanted to be healthy, or the food choices. When everybody's going out to eat and they're inside of McDonald's in the line, and we're all in the car and they order food, and I say I don't want it. Now I'm looked at as, you think you're better than us that you don't. So when you decide to elevate, you can definitely believe that you want to be an eagle. They don't soar with sparrows. They don't fly with crows. They don't do that. They're just in a league of their own. So we got to become eagles in our own right, in our own state, and know that we just soaring out there. You think that they're lonely, but they're in the state. They see other people that's on their level. They're way up there above the clouds. And that's where we have to be. We have to become eagles in anything that we want to do. And it's not a lonely thing. It's just something that we decide. Because if you're somewhere, there's people around you that are on the same mind state, and also on the same frequency. I think it's all about attracting the right type of people that's on your frequency and staying there. And then learning how to respect other people who don't want to do or live life the way that you do, and respect them. Because you'll get the respect, but you also got to understand, you want to be different. So once you want to be different, you got to understand that there's going to be people who want you to stay the same.
Exactly. Jay, it's been awesome show. What's one last just piece of advice for our listening audience out there? Someone's just kind of hearing you, and maybe they're ready to make this certain shift. And all this, I think, is it's just the same. I mean, your whole journey, whether it's business, leveling up, doing the multi-million-dollar deals, or transforming your health, it all starts just with you and your mindset, making that decision. So, any last words of wisdom for our audience today?
The only thing that I could possibly say is love yourself, man. Find your self-worth, find your self-value, and understand that you're enough, and understand that you are important. I think that we don't have we didn't grow up with having understanding of self-concept of self. Once I started to figure out that I was enough in my relationship with God, I would tell anybody like, listen here, find out who you are and you'll find God. Once you find yourself, you'll find him because he's inside of you. And then by you finding yourself, you'll start to figure out that who your father is and how he loves you and how he's made everything for you to benefit from. But if you don't find yourself and love yourself, then you're disconnected from your source. And now it's going to be a up and down lifestyle that you're going to have, and it can be very disappointing. So even though we have trials and tribulations, we have a father that truly loves us, and we start to evolve into the man or woman that he made us to be, and that's coming through self-love. That's what I would tell someone. Find yourself, find God, find life. I think that's what's been something for me, is learning how to love myself.
Amen.
Finally loving myself, then I started to do what things that I felt it was found myself with.
Amen. Amen. Well, Jay, thanks you so much for being on the podcast today.
I love it.
Wish you so much success, man. It's been awesome hanging with you. OGs, original gangsters back in the day. So thank you so much for being on the show, man. Love you, man.
And blessings to you and your family and your endeavors.
Thank you. You too, Jay. We'll see you, man.
All right.